Hi, dear friends, cultural creatives, and inquisitive minds. This is Bruce, and I'm going to try and provide you with what I call the November newsletter, although this is the last week in October, and things are so exciting that whatever I say today may be profoundly different by tomorrow because we are in the evolution, and it's happening right now all around us. In a former communication, I may have talked to you about something called the biological imperative. These are drives that biologists recognize that living organisms have, and these are motivations for doing things. The basic drives for food, water, sex, etc. are part of the biological imperatives. Very interestingly, the biological system has acquired an early warning mechanism that says if we are in threat of any kind or our biological imperative is in some way being thwarted, that the system will begin to respond and start to take action to protect itself. Well, it's interesting because the biological imperative is waking up people all over the world because we're beginning to recognize that the way we are living is totally unsustainable at this particular moment. And the significance about that is that our biological imperative is really waking us up. It's a gut feeling that says something is wrong, something is actually a threat, and we don't know exactly what it is. And why I bring this up right now is because we are engaged in a process called Occupy Wall Street. And it's spreading all around the world. All countries all over the world are beginning to support the protest against the corporate control of the world in which we live. And why is this relevant? Because we're beginning to recognize that the way we are living, the lifestyle we have been programmed to provide for ourselves and for the world around us is not sustainable, that we are facing our own extinction. That threat of extinction is what is alerting our biological imperative to the fact that we've got to do something right now. Well, here's the problem. People are recognizing that we're not sustainable, that the world is facing an extinction event of mass proportion. And yet we say, well, what can we do about it? And the answer is we don't have the answer. And exactly this is what we're recognizing from our government at the point of their inability to make any appropriate responses to stave off the threats that loom before us right now. And so people are gathering and people are saying, look, we know it's not working, and they're out in the streets and they're trying to say, let's draw attention to the reality that we are facing a severe threat to our life and the world in which we live. And so while we see all these people gathering, we also recognize that they don't really have a specific gathering point, something that they're all working on, trying to get to the same place. They're just getting together saying, it's not working, we don't have answers. And the answers obviously are not forthcoming from the government. The issues, unfortunately, are related to the corporate control of the world in which we live. Corporate greed has actually, unfortunately, undermined civilization. People talk about, well, corporations are the equivalent of people, and that's how they got their foot in the door and began to control the government of the United States. The corporations are not supportive of the people. Corporations, by definition, are supportive of the shareholders. So whatever they do is not for the benefit of the world, it's for the benefit of the people that invest in these corporations. The significance is this: corporations have no morality or duty to the people of this world. And in that light, this is exactly why we're facing all the severe problems in our world, which include economic problems, global climate change problems, fuel crisis problems, etc., etc., etc. So while I'm here, and what I'm talking about is this: people are gathering. Their biological imperative is driving them to say, look, we've got to do something. The answers are not clear. That's pretty obvious. We don't have any answers because the current systems and the current institutions are the cause of the problem. And as Albert Einstein remarked, he said you cannot solve the problems with the same thinking that created the problems. So consequently, it says the institutions that we have to support us are actually the cause of the problem, and therefore we really can't expect to get any answers from that source. So the people are in the streets. We don't know what we're talking about in regard to what do we need to do. But we're getting together to raise the question that says we must do something and we must start to look for whatever that is now. So the relevance of the Occupy Wall Street is that it's people facing life-threatening situation, coming together, and yet asking for what can we do? What can we do? And why I get very excited about this is there's an understanding in the new world of physics, and it's called emergence. And emergence means this, that you can bring a bunch of individuals together, and when you reach a certain critical mass, something new will happen, and yet no one has idea from studying the individual pieces that are coming together what that new thing will be. Emergence says that parts come together and create something that we haven't even imagined what that could be. So as the people are coming out in the street, claiming that we need to do something and yet not knowing what it is, we're opening the doorway for emergence. Something will emerge from this, and it's going to happen very soon. And what we really have to recognize is that the primary thing is to return power back to the people. Take it out of the hands of the money interests, the very small percentage that is through the corporate structure as we have it now, undermining our world. Now, just to point out very clearly, this does not mean all corporations. What's really wonderful is at this time of change, there are new socially conscious corporations manifesting. Corporations that see that it's not just the profit motive that we're looking for, it's the concept of living in harmony and balance in a world that is sustainable. So I would like to separate those new socially conscious corporations out of the picture of the corporate greed that has led us to this level of almost extinction. So what we're going to see is a radical change in the world. And in fact, it may be so radical I might have to provide a supplemental newsletter before November ends, because changes are imminent, changes are fast, and yet I can't tell you what the changes are going to be. Nobody can, because the concept of emergence says nobody will know what's going to ultimately result from all this, but movement is assured. We are going to move from the current place we are into another place, hopefully a place where life is valued, the environment is valued, people are valued, and at this point, we will offer a world a new foundation, a new institution of life, a new way to live on this planet where all of us can live in harmony and support the environment. And this is our biggest kind of message, motivation that's facing us at this time where the biological imperative is yelling, something is wrong, let's fix it. So what's it going to be? I don't know. Let's just keep our eyes open. Let's keep our hearts open. Let's keep our minds open and look for the resolutions that are right out there in front of us and yet are not visible at this moment. And this is again why I get so excited about the concepts in the book Spontaneous Evolution that I co-wrote with my friend Steve Behrman. Because it says, from the old mystical understanding, the answers lie within. And in this particular case, spontaneous evolution offers insights of how 6 or 7 billion people in this world could learn to live in harmony and support each other by using the same pattern of understanding by which 50 trillion cells come together as free living individuals and yet come together in a community and create what is called the human body. Very interesting point. That is the example of emergence. Think about it. If you were an amoeba, the concept of going to the moon would be not a concept. It would be unfathomable to even think about that. But if you put 50 trillion amoebas together, not only can the concept of going to the moon become an idea, but with 50 trillion cells working together to create a human being, and human beings coming together and work in harmony, the emergence of not only the idea of going to the moon, but the reality of getting there manifested. Did the amoeba know that this was going to happen? No. But 50 trillion amoebas that did. Why this is relevant to us right now is that we have 7 billion people on this planet that are beginning to realize that it is their cooperative effort. They're coming together. They're creating a new civilization that will offer us a sustainable future. And in that sustainable future, things will emerge that we have no idea about right now. But I see it as a great, glorious opportunity for human civilization. So in the month of November, perhaps we can all think about our brethren who are out there and also helping us make a statement to the world that it's time for change. It's time for us to come back as people and eliminate the corporate control that has just diminished us to slaves and unhealthy ones at that. Take a chance now. Consider a new future. Don't get caught up in the world that's coming down. Start to consider what is the world we can build that is in front of us right now. As the book Spontaneous Evolution describes the story of a Cherokee elder, and that elder was talking to his grandchildren and he said, "Children, there are 2 wolves fighting inside of me and it's a terrible fight and I don't know which of the wolves is going to win." And the children said, "Grandpa, what are these wolves?" And the grandfather said, "One is the wolf of love and peace. The other is the wolf of anger and war." And the children are saying, "But Grandpa, which one of these wolves is going to win?" And the grandfather said, whichever one I feed. And why I bring that up is we're facing a world coming down and we're facing a world being built up. It's really important for us to step out of the world that is crumbling and step into the new world and offer the vision, the opportunity, the tools, and the consciousness that can take us from this unsustainable place we are now into a future that is just filled with miracles and beauty and harmony of living here in this Garden of Eden, this planet Earth, this place that is actually heaven, because this is where we can create that heaven on earth, and that's for us. So I really want to thank all of you for being out there. Your participation in this evolution is so important, and I would just like to encourage you to move forward. Don't look behind, because we're moving on to far better things than we can even imagine right now. So until I talk to you next time, stay well, stay healthy, think wonderful thoughts, because it's our vision that's going to create the beauty that lies before us. Thank you for listening to this newsletter, and I hope you come back again.